you worked out for me today, so I'm with it.
Yeah. I almost didn't work out for neither one of us.
See, but God
I
had
fought
me.
through.
He
I
said
fought
you're gonna
through.
do it because you gotta
I
support
fought.
other people in their journey too. So that's
I fought through. I fought through.
I love it. Well, I do want to say thank you so much, just for the opportunity to allow me to interview you. I'm excited to talk to you and learn more about you, your journey. So I'm excited, and I just want to say thank
For
you.
sure. Nah, the pleasure's mine.
I mean, we just gonna jump in there. Like
All
you
right.
are dope. You have written hit songs for
For sure. Blessed.
Madonna. I mean, Lil Baby, Chris Brown, Ed Sheeran. Like you are dope. But I want to
Yeah,
start
blessed.
off with a heavy question. I
Okay.
found out that you are Ivory Scott the fourth. So,
Yeah.
what does success and having a legacy mean to you?
I feel like it's the most important thing. I feel like, when you are putting a stamp on this world, like we're only as good as our footprints that we leave behind. So like everything that I do, forget about the money, forget about the cars, forget about the plaques, forget about everything. It's the footprints that you leave behind for the next person that follows. That's super important for me.
I love that. I love that. Now, since we're kind of on the topic of legacy and family, do you come from a musical background? Like, does anyone else in your family sing?
The crazy thing is like my grandfather was like the lead singer of a group called the Hummingbirds. It was like a '60s group back in the day. So I came up, in a music household,
Hmm.
but nobody like really like has had pursued as far as I have. Now my dad plays piano. Of course I sung in church and stuff like that. So that's really like where it started. Like my love for music really started like honestly like through trauma, just falling in love with, the creation of music, really.
Wow, that's dope. See, God
Yeah.
really blessed you because I come from a musical background, a musical family too, right? But God
Right.
blessed me with the talent to sing. Everyone in my family, when I say from my aunts, my cousins, like my mom, my uncles,
Yeah.
everybody can sing except for me and my grandmother. We the only
Ah.
two that did not get blessed with the talent.
We gotta talk to God about that.
I know, but that's awesome to hear. So
Right.
although you've kind of, have this musical background and I read that you started writing songs when you were a kid, there was a gap. It seems like there was a gap where you kind of was focusing on like football and then, you were focusing on construction or part of some big project here in Buckhead too. So
Yeah, you did your research. You did your research.
yeah.
You did your research. Okay, okay, okay.
Yes, I got to do what I got to do. So I'm curious to know, what inspired you to, kind of segue into songwriting and, really start taking it seriously.
Well, I actually like I always like took it serious, but I also, my dad told me, a long time ago. One time when I moved to I left Chicago when I was 16, moved to LA with nothing, bought my first car, lived in my first car, and just was chasing dreams. And I tell you that, to tell you this part of the story, I called my dad one time to ask him to send me $150. And he was like, son, look at your hands. He said, as long as you got your hands, you got the ability to feed yourself. And I took that and I applied it to my life. And I told myself, no matter how long I was chasing music, no matter where music took me, I would always be able to put in the work to be able to feed myself. Like I don't believe in being a starving artist. I believe that, hey, go get that job, but then come home and write 10 songs. So like songwriting has always kind of been like a part of, my journey, even when I was doing construction, even when I was playing football. When I played football, I had a studio in my dorm. I've always created the atmosphere to be able to create, you know what I'm saying, to be able to create music. So it's always been a part of me. And I've always just wanted to be a songwriter. Like, like it's so crazy. Like, of course, like naturally, a songwriter, artist, everybody wants to be an artist, you know what I'm saying? And of course, that's where it all started. But I've always had like a very diverse, catalog, like ability to make songs for Beyonce and Dirk. There's two different, genres. So it's like I couldn't do that. It's just me. Imagine, I couldn't just be a Fireboy and a Lil Dirk at the same time. So it allows me to let that energy out, and gives me outlets, in a different way as a songwriter. So it's always been a part of my makeup.
Wow, that's dope. Listen, you went from the studio in the pantry at your mom's crib to a
Listen to
studio in the
you.
dorm.
Like, let me find out. Damn, cuz.
You have, I love the elevation. I love that, you had, people in your corner to really just build that foundation for you to keep elevating. And, you done made it. I know there's still
Yeah,
many goals and aspirations that you have, but you've hit, a level that most people haven't and may not ever hit. So
for
I
sure.
love that. I love that.
Sure.
Now I'm
Sure.
curious.
I appreciate it.
Of course. Now I'm curious, did you meet Ray Daniels before or after you got your publishing deal with APG?
When I met Ray Daniels and when I got my publishing deal, I had no placements, zero. A lot of people think that you got to have a publishing deal in order to start getting placements, but Ray Daniels was actually the person that took me to Mike Karen. So when I met Ray Daniels, I had met one. I met him twice. I met him the first time I met him, and he told me, he said, you could be. He's like, I haven't heard a songwriter better than you since Neo, right? But he said you got to work on your. He didn't sign me, so I went back to work. I went locked in my craft. Like I always preach on sharpening your sword and being able to be the person that you want to be by putting in that work. Getting better at what you want to do. I didn't take it as like being discouraged and saying he's talking about I make hits, right? I took the expert's knowledge and I applied it to my skill set. And then I had another meeting with Ray Daniels, and he ended up giving me writing a check for me for 20K that day. I went to his office and he was like, "Look, take this check, give me some time. I'm gonna get you a publishing situation. Don't take that job," because I had an offer to go and work um to build high rises in Disneyland.
Wow.
Six-figure job, crazy situation, like, but Ray was like, just give me some time, man. I'm gonna change your life, chase your dream. So boom, he give me the check for 20K. A couple weeks later, Mike Karen calls me on the phone. Ray Daniels and Mike Karen's on the phone, and Mike Karen's like, why should I sign you? And I told him, I said that you on the phone with me right now, and I've only been able to give music 10% of my life. I've been working 16-hour days and still finding time to make music good enough for you to want to talk to me. So imagine if I could do it 100% of the time.
That's a pitch,
So
right? Okay,
from
that is an
there,
elevator pitch. I ain't heard one for myself.
so
Wow.
that from there it was like it was what I'm saying, it's been butter ever since then.
No, that is dope. Okay, listen, I might have to take a
Yeah.
little bit from your elevator pitch when I'm, going through my stuff. That was like, what can you say after that? Honestly, like, you gotta sign me. You
Nothing.
gotta sign
You
me.
got
You
to sign me,
gotta,
right? For sure. Come on, don't miss out. Basically,
Yes, I love that. Now, I'm curious to know. Obviously, you have the skills and the traits of a hard worker, but in this industry, it can be tough. And like we said before, this isn't meant for everybody. So, what
Mhm.
are some of those key, characteristics or traits you think it takes in order to kind of navigate and be within this entertainment industry?
You got to forget about the wins. And what I mean when I say that is, a lot of times I could sit back and say, hey, I've been a part of all these number one records. I've been a part of all these great projects. And if I keep looking at those wins, it'll block the vision of the next win. So you got to stay locked in. Like, I have so many records and I'm still getting up writing 10 songs a day. So you have to have a mindset that I have to outwork the opposition. Somebody's always on your heels. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta work. You gotta put the work in for what you want in life. People are only at the levels that they're at because of the amount of effort that they put into what they're doing.
Mm. What's crazy is, and I'm pulling out my phone because literally on my screensaver. I don't know if you can see me, but literally on my screen, well, my screen is
Yeah,
blurred, but
blur it out.
I
Yeah.
have the secret to discipline isn't, everybody talks about shouting the affirmations and making these elaborate morning routines. It's respecting yourself enough to do the thing that you know you need to do, regardless of how you feel in the moment. So I
For
love
sure.
that.
For
Yeah,
sure. For sure.
that's dope.
Gotta do that.
No, for real, because
Gotta do that.
we finna be looking at each other just like what's going on.
Look.
But I'm curious to know because clearly you have it down packed as far as your foundation and being a hard worker and really just going after your goals. And I feel like financial literacy is kind of a part of that and a part of your story. Like you
For
said,
sure.
you
For sure.
were in construction, and most people will think like construction workers and anyone in that industry, like y'all be making it. And we have that
Yeah.
battle of the 9 to 5 versus the creatives. But
Yeah.
can you share a little bit of some of your financial, I guess, lessons or practices that have been crucial to your success? I mean, you said Ray Daniels dropped that 20K. So I mean, what do you think contributed to your, that financial literacy in your path?
Yeah, so growing up as a kid, like I never had conversations with my mom or my dad, about, financial literacy, the importance of credit, the importance of credibility with institutions, the importance of taking care of your money when you get it. I kind of had to learn through experiencing with money. So like, for example, like when I first, like I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. When I got my first big check, I think it was like 200K. It was
Mhm.
like 200K. And I was like, I'm talking about, I'm buying whatever I want, jewelry, whatever. I'm blowing through it, right? And
Right.
before I knew it, I had 50K, right? And so I realized the value of how fast money really goes. So you have to like you have to experience it. Like, you know what I'm saying? You have to experience money to know how to use money as a tool. A lot of times, like, people use money and they think of it as, oh, this is just for me to buy something. But every dollar that you get is a seed. You have to look at it like a seed. You have to plant it so it can grow more. So it's like, but it took me, I had to learn the hard way. I had to, you know what I'm saying? Like I had to experience it the hard way, man. I had to go get down and get back up, you know what I'm saying, a couple times to really realize like, this is what, you have to do in order to take care of your money.
I love that. Oh my goodness, I love that. And it's crazy because a lot
Yeah.
of us, like millennials and Gen Zers, we're the first
Yeah.
of our family to be doing a lot of stuff. So, I mean, for
For
us
sure. For
to
sure.
to get there, learn
For
about
sure.
it,
Yeah, like
teach our
literally,
family, like
literally I'm literally the first home buyer in my family.
wow.
In my family, like period. Like film. I didn't know nothing about it, but I went through the process. Like, I even when I first came to when I first started getting motion in music, I got a penthouse in Buckhead. I thought I probably was paying like 6K a month for this penthouse and just like spending money. I'm talking about going crazy. I got with my accountant, looked at my books and realized how much money I spent on that. I bought a house. I bought a house the amount of time. So I pulled out. I ended up buying a property on like 7 acres of land in Georgia, off the grid, no neighbors, and it's bliss. You know what I'm saying? Because like to be a homeowner and to have that, can't nobody pull up on you and take from you. It's like it's another tier of like being a man and being like a professional in this business.
I love that. That's amazing. You already
For real.
setting the standards for generations to come in your family. So I love that. I love that.
For sure. For
Now
sure.
let's talk about the music. So
Okay.
you're an artist known for, your versatility. So you blend a lot of, Afro beats and R&B, hip hop and, other genres. So what draws you to experiment with those different diverse sounds, and how do you maintain, I guess, a signature style while exploring these different genres?
Well, I mean, I feel like I look at music like this. Like I look at music as an art. I don't feel like you can really put art in a box. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if I was to say, "Oh, I'm just an R&B artist," then I would be putting myself in a box. I would be putting my creativity in a box. So I don't really like look at it like that. Was for as far as like giving people something authentic that's true to Ivory Scott. That's this, conversations. That's people understand and fall in love with the person, not the music. A lot of times, people have records that are bigger than who they are. You know what I mean? Jay-Z said something. He said, first I had their ear, now I have their heart. So it's like I'd rather be the artist that, have a cult following of people that love Ivory Scott. That means that if I drop a cowbell song, it's gonna go. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
Right.
I'm just happen to be so diverse that I'm gonna give off that energy. I'm not gonna put myself in a box. I would never like allow like any, company or anything to say, Ivory, you just this. Because sometimes I wake up and I want to play guitar and just write songs. And then some days I want to be trapped. I want to be ratchet. I want to write, you know what I'm saying? Like I just feel like that sometimes. So I don't put myself in a box. I like to allow people to, I'd rather people to fall in love with me than in love with my music in any particular genre.
Yes. Now you seem like me, where you was listening to. Let me think of someone. Like what? Linkin Park, One Republic. What?
Yeah, 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 exactly.
That's
Exactly.
dope. I love
Exactly. Yeah,
that.
I go on binges in all genres. Like I spent like half of last year just listening to Sade, and just like, just I don't know, like it's you can find look basically this is music. It's like a piano. A piano is really only consist of let's see, 10 keys, right? It's only
Hmm.
10 keys repeated over and over again, right? So at the end of the day, everything we do in music, it's like it's either a love song, it's either a song about heartbreak, it's either a song about something you've been through, partying, having a good time, and no matter what genre, these are just different ways to talk. It's like a different language each genre is. So as long as you tapping in and being true and really like diving into it, like hey, you could do any kind of music you want to. You don't
Yeah,
got to put B in a box. You know what I mean?
I love that. Now you gotta dab into a little bit of some Hispanic music, because I love
Yeah,
Selena. So
yeah,
I want
yeah,
to.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I definitely got to cross that. I definitely got to cross over into that.
Yes. Now we got to talk about it. I mean, you wrote for Beyonce. You wrote "Thick," which is on her Renaissance album. So
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I heard that you wrote that song about like 9, 10 years ago.
yeah. That song's so old.
So my
That song
question
is so old. That
is, but I mean, it's old, but listen, it's popping. That's my song. So,
right.
what's your creative process or elements that you infuse to making timeless music?
I feel like it's like conversational. Like music that's conversational will last forever, because like I just said, like we're basically all going through the same shit at different time periods of our life.
Right.
Sometimes you might feel like, oh my gosh, I love him, I'm in love. And then the next week you be like, I hate that nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like you're
Right.
gonna go through those things in life. So it's like, that's what music is. I write music that's conversational because I write music from a place like, that of things that I've experienced in my life or things that have intrigued me in my life. So it's gonna last forever. I'm not writing songs for the trend of what's going on right now. Oh, they doing that on TikTok. Let me write a song about that. Those songs die in the moment. I'm making songs that's gonna last forever. So that's why I can dig in my catalog and just be like, oh, what about this song? Because I'm not trapping my songs in no time period.
I love that because I just got put onto TikTok. Like I be around friends and they be singing these little songs. And I'm like, well, I ain't heard that song on the radio or that's not on my Apple Music. So what? They like, girl, TikTok. I'm like, man, now y'all know. Come on now. We gotta do better.
Right,
So I
right.
love
True,
that.
true. So true.
Now let's talk about your journey. I mean, Grammy nominated songwriter, first of all. But
Right.
you're stepping into the spotlight as a solo artist, and that's truly remarkable because most emerging artists, they want to be in the forefront, they want to be in the limelight off the
Yeah.
jump, you know. So
Yeah.
kind of share a little bit about the transition, and what inspired you to pursue your own music career.
Well, like I've always like looked at myself as an artist, but I've always looked at myself as a songwriter artist. Like I've always like looked up to artists like The Dream, Neo, artists that made that transition, like Bruno Mars, like Victoria Monet. Look at her, like you know what I'm saying. Like art, I feel like the greatest artists are artists that can like basically write their own songs. So it's like I've always saw myself transitioning to being an artist, but it had to be the right time. It had to be the right label. It had to be the right situation. It had to be the right circumstance. And also I had to feel like, I was adding to the world. I feel like, a lot of artists fail because they're either trying to replicate something that somebody's already doing, or they're not
Mhm.
being true to themselves. So like I felt like the world needed an Ivory Scott. I still like I feel like that's missing in music. So I feel like that's the only way for the world to get Ivory Scott is if I give it to him. So, you know what I'm saying? Like I just feel like it's the opportune time and it's the right time and I feel good about it. I battle myself because, imagine, making a good living and having to give up that privacy, having to allow people to dive deep into your life, into your personal life, dive deep into, your business, dive deep into, now you can't go everywhere. Now you getting recognized and stuff like that. Whereas like as a songwriter, man, I had the number one song on the charts and nobody, I'm in a club, the song's going crazy, everybody's screaming, they got no idea I'm the person that wrote the song. That is a sense of peace that I had, of being mystique, and I'm a very like private kind of person. So like, opening up, myself basically to be an artist, it takes a lot, but it's like it's always been in my makeup, and I just feel like God has a calling in my life to, give a message, that, only I can do as an artist, with reach like that, being the person on the front cover of the cereal box opposed to back.
I love that. And it's crazy. You must got some psychic abilities or something because I was just gonna ask you, what do you think was, how they say like entrepreneurs and coaches, they're there to solve a problem for consumers. So I want to make sure
Yeah,
I heard you right. What was the missing
yeah,
link for the music industry that you inserted and it was just you being authentic? And is that I want to make sure I
yeah,
heard you
yeah.
right.
That's right on the head. You hit it
Okay.
right on the head. Like I feel like we don't have enough like music for real people. And what I mean when I say that is like, it's one thing like I have jewelry that I've spent, hundreds of thousands of dollars on. I have
Mhm.
flashy cars. I have all that. But most people in the world don't, and most people in the world will never see that. A lot of people are going through regular shit, and I feel like we need an artist that's gonna help us through regular shit. Because there was times in my life when I was homeless where I didn't want to live anymore. It's times when I wanted to give up, and I don't feel like that type of music exists, in the world that's gonna help us get through something. And the party shit is cool, but at the end of the day, we all going through shit, and we need something authentic that we can go to. We need something real, and that's why I feel like, my song "Real" is going so crazy right now on the radio, Sirius XM, and it's doing so well because it's like at the end of the day, when you pass all the filters, when after you done took 100 pictures to post one, and after you done, posted a picture of you smiling when you crying on the inside, at the end of the day, we all got to tap back into the real world. You know what I'm saying? And we need something that's gonna help us get to that point. And I feel like that's who Ivory Scott is, and that's what God wants for me. To be as a vessel, for this world of music right now.
Yes, I love it. Not to get a little too spiritual because I don't know how everyone takes, when they see this interview, but I agree with you 100%, especially now, like even with like content creators and all that stuff like that. Like, don't nobody want to see the you know, high quality production. Like we want to see you making some real content about everyday life so we can relate.
Yeah,
Like, especially
yeah,
in
yeah,
Atlanta, because I'm in
yeah, for
Atlanta.
sure,
So
for
we
sure.
tired of the, you know, the fake putting on the flex. Like, come on,
Yeah,
be for
yeah, be true, man. Rant due, be true.
okay. I love that. Now, as we kind of wrap up here, you've mentioned before that your EP Before Ebony is just a little teaser to your upcoming project. So can you kind of give us a little glimpse into, you know, what us as fans can expect for your upcoming debut album?
Versatility, a story, you know what I'm saying? Like I like the Before Ebony was really like a tester to see like what temperature and who are my fans. What do they want to see from Ivory Scott? I feel like artists mess up when they don't listen to their listeners. You got to listen to your listeners and see what they want from you. So, real really showed me, what my listeners, love from me, and that's authentic. Being authentic and being true, connecting with me, like even through my interviews and stuff like that. Like I love like hearing people like in my DM telling me their testimony based off something they heard me say in the interview and things like that. So you gonna get the real, man. You gonna get something that's gonna get you through every type of day.
Yes.
That's what the project.
I'm ready. I'm excited because between real, I mean, it's four or five songs to the EP, but all of them my favorites. So I can't
Yeah,
even pick a top because
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, yeah,
it's so dope. And just that teaser already, I already know fans are gonna be so ecstatic when that album drops. So
yeah. Coming too.
I mean, people should already be following you already. You know how people be sometimes.
Yeah,
So where can we find you on Instagram and all social
yeah,
media platforms?
for sure. You can find me on I Am Ivory Scott on all platforms. I Am Ivory Scott, and if you can't find me there, just Google me.
Period.
You know,
All his
I'm
credentials.
Googleable.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ivy, for your time. I really enjoyed speaking with you. And I pray nothing but continued success for you.
Oh, the pleasure is definitely mine. Good talk. We gotta do this in person again for sure when the album drops.
Yay.